What's up? My name is Ken Dumbo, the MC with the sauce. Don't forget to subscribe to J. Cool.
Thank you for this moment in which I would want personally to remember President ECL, popularly known as ECL. President Edgar Lungu was a very humble man. I knew him at the time he was a lawyer with Andrea Masie, and my first contact with him was when he was representing the Post newspaper as a lawyer. Fast forward, he becomes president in a by-election in 2015, and later on 2016. This is a man who was very, very humble. This is a man who was outgoing. This is a man who was very serious on national matters and national building. ECL had challenges towards the end of his administration, and I put it in the last 3 years of his 7-year rule, in which many of us decided to oppose his continuation into power. We built collisions and we fought the Patriotic Front and fought Edgar Lungu as an individual. It's at this point that I draw my admiration of the man. Many things were said against him. He was insulted, abused, and ridiculed. But at no time did he recklessly and with full knowledge abuse his citizens in a manner we experience it today. This is the man who the current president, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, refused up to the time he lost power to recognize him as a Republican president. It is on record in Parliament that every time ECL go into Parliament, the UPND members of Parliament walked out, and the reason was simple. They did not want to be addressed by a president they did not recognize. Very, very unfortunate. And ECL made no qualms about it. ECL never called it sedition. ECL never called it hate speech. He treated it as politics as usual. When ECL lost power, he did things that we got surprised, and that makes me to be here. He invited strong critics to go and have a meal with him, to go and have a conversation with him, to connect to the people that did not understand him and therefore rose against him. Very unusual attributes. And today I speak because ECL, before his dying, became my closest confidante, my closest ally, and my best friend. We shared many, many things in confidence. ECL is a man who has been abused in retirement. Not that they withdrew his pension, not that they got his benefits, but because the party that took power from him decided to revenge and avenge. They abused him to the very last moment of his death, and he had this power not to respond to those who injured him. If anything, ECL had a forgiving heart. He was a genuine human being, a very receptive politician, a very organized thinker, a man that the country will miss. He dies greater in death than he was in life. We are here in Johannesburg to bury him in a foreign land because it's hot at home. The nation at home is in disarray. The nation at home is divided. The nation at home is lacking genuine, sincere leadership. The nation at home is at war with itself. From the death of ECL, we need to build a new society, a society of forgiveness, a society of love, a society of tolerance. From the death of ECL, we must define our politics. Are they developmental? Are they for supremacy? Are they for unity of purpose? Or they are there to abuse those who are in the opposition or those who don't have state power? We need to define how we play our politics in Zambia. We have lost it. We are a disgrace. And I pray that the unity I've seen from the people of Zambia that has been generated by the death of ECL will be cemented into a formidable opposition and opposition leadership that will come and unite this country and take it to another level. Thank you.
Good greetings, fellow Zambians. I have just arrived in South Africa to pay my last respects to the 60th Republican President, Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu, someone that I had the great honor to work with. First of all, I remember in 2015, at a time when we were looking for someone to take over from President Michael Sata. At that time, I was serving as a ward councillor in Kitwe. I remember indicating to His Excellency that I want to contest as Member of Parliament for one of the constituencies in Kitwe. I remember President Lungu guiding me that yes, you have been councillor for almost 10 years. You can probably do a good job as Member of Parliament, but allow us to accommodate different dynamics into this electoral process. So we are asking you to stand as Mayor of Kitwe. So I was guided in 2016 by the late President that instead of me starting as Member of Parliament, I serve as Mayor for Kitwe. So I served as Mayor of Kitwe with the full support of President Edgar Lungu. We did a couple of projects in Kitwe. We worked on a few roads, I think about 56 kilometers, which were shared in all the 5 constituencies, because every time the President visited, we would indicate to him that, Your Excellency, we need our roads to be worked on. And that is how the President said, look, we don't have the money to do everything, but we'll support your work as Mayor. And that is how we did 56 kilometers. We had a challenge of trading facilities in Kitwe, where marketeers could be able to trade from. I remember at Sokone Market when we had some market shelters collapsing. President Edgar Lungu did provide resources, and we were able to build new market shelters for those that were doing street vending and for those that did not have trading facilities. The same thing with Nakadoli Market, the same thing with Chamboli Market. So I personally remember him as someone who supported my work as Mayor for the city of Kitwe. Later on, I had the privilege of being selected to lead the Local Government Association of Zambia. So Central Committee of the Patriotic Front, they had a meeting, and all of us who wanted to be president for all the mayors in the country did apply. But the president who we are putting to rest indicated that, look, we have Christopher Kangombe, who has been councillor for 10 years, is now a mayor. Let's allow him to lead his fellow colleagues. So I personally remember him as someone who gave me an opportunity to be in leadership. But it's not just me who was given an opportunity as a young person. We have colleagues, Nathan Chanda from Luansha, who was given an opportunity to be mayor for Luansha. Prince Chileshe in Kabwe was a young person, still a youthful person like me. Others were not given elective positions. Others were just appointed. Binwa was appointed district commissioner. Chanda Kabwe was appointed district commissioner. So for me as a young person, as I was traveling to South Africa to come and pay my last respects, I was basically asking myself, how do I remember this person who gave me an opportunity to grow in leadership? And I think that as I convey my sincere condolences, I'm remembering President Lungu as someone who, yes, would not agree with everything that young people wanted to do in terms of those of us who wanted to be in leadership, but he was always there to guide us. So councillor, mayor, then later on 2021, I applied to be member of parliament. President Lungu in Central Committee said, look, Christopher has been waiting for 15 years. He's been slowly growing in leadership. We need to give him an opportunity. That is how I was adopted as member of parliament for Kamfinsa constituency. And I'm grateful to the people of Kamfinsa for the support they've been able to give me over the last couple of years. So for me, as I remember the 60th Republican president, I thought that I needed to find time to come all the way from Zambia to come and convey my condolences. But I think that one key aspect which I want to emphasize, very few presidents would have given young people the opportunity that President Lungu gave many of us. And it's not about Christopher Kangombe, it's about Nathan Chanda, it's about Chanda Kabwe, it's about Binwell, it's about Rashida Mlenga, it's about Greyford Monde. I don't know how many, the list is long. So I thought that we would travel, come and give our respects, and I want to convey my sincere condolences to the family of President Lungu, Madam Esther, a mother that was always there to correct some of us when we were growing in leadership. I thought that we needed to find time to come through and share our remembrance, the views, the things that we remember about President Edgar Lungu. I hope that even as we transition as a political party, all those that have this passion to continue where President Lungu has left from should be able to remember that we need to give people a platform to grow in leadership. We want a leader that will be able to do what President Lungu was able to do. Tolerate a lot of people, different views, those that didn't believe in him, those that believed him, and I thought that this was the right time. I could not have remained in Zambia without finding time to come through. So sincere condolences to the family. I do hope once again that we will remain united, first of all as a political party. It is very key that we remain united. I was there when President Sata died. The initial stages saw a lot of conflicts. You know, when your leader passes away, there are always different people that are aspiring, those that want to take over. It is at that stage that we must show the right level of unity. So I hope that we remain united. I'm quite hopeful that we will remain united. But also, I'm hoping that we can first of all put our leader to rest and then be able to ask ourselves, how do we move forward together? To the people of Zambia, I know there are a lot of questions that people are asking themselves. How could we have achieved more? Could we have done A, B, C, D? I think everything has got time. My assurance to the people of Zambia is that what is important first of all is we have a family that is mourning. Yes, he was president of Zambia. We know that there are all sorts of laws that are being quoted. I don't want us to go into that conversation because I have read all the laws. I've read Article 100 of the Constitution of Zambia, which deals with the qualifications of a president. I've read almost from 100 to 108. Those are the articles that deal with the Constitution of Zambia and the presidency. There is no provision that talks about a former president who has died. So you have a law. There's a law called Benefits of Former Presidents. It's another law which provides for the 12 benefits of a former president. One of the benefits of a former president is medical insurance. So if you are a former president, you are entitled to medical insurance. That is benefit number 10. Benefit number 12 is obviously the state has to meet your expenses when you die. Now that law doesn't talk about a former president who has returned to active politics. It only says if you are a former president and you are not active in politics, 12 benefits will be given to you. We find ourselves in a situation where President Lungu returned to active politics, and the law that we are quoting does not cover former presidents that have returned to active politics. As we go back to Parliament, these are laws that we need to look at, clean them up, ensure that they cover everyone. In America, for instance, President Obama always campaigns for Democratic candidates. President Bush, who is the former president of America, always campaigns for Republican candidates. So we should start asking ourselves, to avoid this situation we found ourselves in where President Lungu returned to active politics, there was no medical assistance provided to him. It must help us reflect that, okay, how can we handle this better in future? Do we continue with the current provision where we take away the rights of individuals to support whichever political party they want? So my view is that this is a conversation we have to take to Parliament. Let's ask ourselves, if today the sitting president in future decided to campaign for a person he thinks can be a good president, we should not take away the benefits. Benefits should be those that are accrued. You are saving and the benefits are accruing. So I thought I needed to comment on that issue, even as we remember President Lungu. This is a time for reflection. This is also a time for me, the last message I have. This is the right time for us to start reflecting on the need for proper reconciliation. We need to reconcile as citizens. We need to reconcile as people that are doing politics. And I think that it's important that we join others in mourning President Edgar Chagwa Lungu. So, Madam Esther, we are with you. We have come all the way to come and mourn with you. All shall be well, ma'am. That is why we've traveled to come and convey our condolences. The people of Kamfinsa, once again, are mourning with the former First Family. We'll keep you posted. I thank you once again.
Well, as many of you are aware, we are here in South Africa, obviously to pay our last respect to a man that needs no introduction, a man that has led our beautiful country, Zambia, with a lot of dignity. And many would have thought this was a movie, but for us who have now traveled, reality has actually knocked that the man is already gone. Now, many may remember President Edgar Chagwa Lungu in different ways. I, as Binwa Mpundu, remembers him in a different, manner. He is not just a political figure. He is not just a political mentor. He became a parent to some of us who were like orphans in the political arena. As you may be aware, I got an opportunity as a young man to have been given opportunities to serve at different, positions, starting from the Patriotic Front, where I was elevated to Provincial Secretary of the Copper Belt. I think something that was unprecedented considering the age. I also got lucky that I got appointed as District Commissioner for Kitwe. Now, you know that from 2016 going into 2021, Kitwe was presided over by, youthful, characters. Myself as District Commissioner, as well as Christopher Kangombe as Mayor on the other side. Now, to place Kitwe into the hands of very young people like myself is not something that anyone can, underplay. And so for me, I remain eternally grateful because the man we are putting to rest tomorrow is a man that gave us a foundation. For some of the people who may listen or come across the name Binu Mpundu, they may not understand where we come from, but this is a man that gave us a platform where we built the little name that people are going to hear about. And so it is a very sad day for the country Zambia. It's a sad day for the continent. It's a sad day for a guy like me who looked up to a man, for wisdom, who looked up to a man for guidance. And so I joined the rest of the country in mourning this gallant man. It's so sad that unfortunately, because of what politics has become in Zambia, we've got to put to rest this man in a foreign land. The ideal situation would have been that we bury him in a place where we can visit him here and there. But you see, unfortunately, our politics has become so bad, which is why some of us were of the view that we allow him to come back into politics, into leadership, so that he can, open a new chapter. Because you like it or not, Zambia is now extremely polarized. We are at a very, bad crossroads in terms of how politics has, digressed. And so for me, I am grief-stricken today, because I thought it was, a story. But when I visited the family house or the funeral house yesterday, reality dawned on me that unfortunately we may never see Edgar Chagwa Lungu again. And so what more can we do? Death is a mystery, unfortunately, that continues to elude us. And I don't think there's anybody who's going to find an answer as to why death continues to rob us of loved ones like ECL. And so the rest we can say is, may the soul of our great leader rest in peace. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, number one, for giving me this opportunity to offer my remembrance of His Excellency President Edgar Chagwa Lungu, our 60th Republican President, who unfortunately passed on the 5th of June of this month. I think that President Edgar Lungu, from the onset, I would like to state that President Edgar Lungu was a man set apart for greatness, a man who was the very, identity of our nation's greatness and of our nation's resilience, our nation's hope, that anyone can become whatever they envision themselves to become. For me, President Edgar Lungu, having rose, from an ordinary citizen to become President of the Republic, going through all the different portfolios that he held, is a sign that indeed every young person should continue to uphold, the highest standard of integrity, even as they embark on any journey of a choice of theirs. President Edgar Lungu is a very definition of what the work of God and the hand of God can do to advance the greatness of a nation. And as a young person, and I'm speaking on behalf of fellow, young Zambians, the youth of Zambia, we will remember President Edgar Lungu for the greatness that he represented. We will remember President Edgar Lungu for the love that he had for us, the young people, having granted a lot of us young people an opportunity to be able to excel in as far as life is concerned, ranging from politics, business, education, and all of that. President Edgar Lungu provided an environment upon which, as president, he provided an environment upon which young people could flourish as businessmen, as entrepreneurs, as politicians and rights activists and all of that. And he is really a man that represented, the very, core value of our nation. And so we as young people are at such a great loss having lost this man. And really, President Edgar Lungu has left us at a time that we needed him the most, especially we as a young people. We're ready to fight for the emancipation of Zambia. We're ready to fight for the betterment of our country. But even as we are ready as young people, we needed him as our anchor, to be able to lead us going forward. forward. And unfortunately, God had his own way and decided that he'd take him. And that's the grief that we have to live with, unfortunately. But we will soldier on. And this is a solemn promise to President Edgar Lungu. Your work, your conviction, your belief in a better Zambia will not die with you. Your death will count for something. And we as young people will take it upon ourselves to ensure that we advance this fight and be able to liberate our country economically, socially, even democratically. As we know, we are now living in a country where democracy is really slowly fading, as it shouldn't be. So at the end of the day, we will continue to fight this fight that you've left us. We as young people, we have our marching orders going into the next year. We know what we need to do. We know what we need to do, and we're committed to ensuring that we do that thing that we need to do to be able to emancipate ourselves as a country, to be able to look out for our own interests as young people. It's really unfortunate. He was a man that looked out for us young people. He is a man who appointed various young people to various positions, of influence in his government, others being district commissioners, others being mayors and council chairpersons and councillors, in the councils, others being members of parliament. He had a relatively youthful team of members of parliament, across the country. So this is a man who believed that we as young people deserve a seat at the table, and he ensured that he gave us that seat at that table of leadership. And we, unfortunately, we may never get to see a leader of that choice again, but then we pray to God to give us the wisdom and, of course, the glory that we can have leaders who emulate President Edgar Lungu's style of leadership and his belief in the young people. He believed that young people needed to have a seat at the table where decisions are being made about their future, about their lives. He believed that life was not only in a moment. He was a futuristic leader. He was a passionate leader. He was a man of integrity, of sheer integrity, whom we must never forget. At all times, we must ensure that we remember President Edgar Lungu. And we as young people are not happy that we are having to bury our president in a foreign land. We would have loved that our president comes back home, to rest with his people, to rest amongst his people, the Zambian people, to rest in the country that he loved the most, that he served for a whole 7 years. He gave his hope, he gave his home, he gave his entire life, to saving our country. And it's unfortunate that we have been treated to events that have led us to where we are now. We have had to fly all the way to a foreign land to be able to bury our dearly departed leader. It's unfortunate, and going forward as young people, like I said, we have our marching orders. We know what needs to do. President Edgar Lungu needs to come home someday, as it was said, but that someday should be 2026. By all means, we need to ensure that we do our work to bring President Edgar Lungu back home, and we know what needs to be done in order for us to bring President Edgar Lungu back home. And I can promise and speak with confidence that we will do whatever that is needed to bring President Edgar Lungu home. We will go back home and deal with the politics that we have to deal with at home, that will ensure that we have a change of leadership, because what requires for President Lungu to come back home is a change of leadership, and we are committed to ensuring that we foster that change of leadership so that our leader can come and rest with us at home, and that our country can be run better in the way that he thought it needed to be better. He believed that Zambians deserved better than what they are currently getting right now, and we also believe that Zambians deserve better, and we will carry that fight to ensure that we liberate our country, that we remove those that have brought shame upon our country through their associations, their unholy associations. Thank you very much. May his soul rest in eternal peace.
Yeah, first and foremost, it is with heavy heart that we are gathered here in Johannesburg to just come and pay our last respect to His Excellency Dr. Edgar Lungu, the president who served Zambia for 7 years. Mama Esther Lungu, the children and the family, we are here and we will stand with you today. We will stand with you tomorrow when we are putting our president to rest. We will stand with you even after burial, because you gave us a true gift. You gave wholeheartedly the gift to Zambia, the gift that has transformed Zambia in the infrastructure development. We have seen massive infrastructure development in health, where we saw Levi Mwanawasa, which had only 83 bed spaces, increase to 850. We saw Mainasoko, which had only about 43 bed spaces, increased to 570. We have seen massive expansion of health sector, including upgrading of clinics to hospitals in Matelo, Chawama, Kabwata. It's countrywide. And this helped us to survive the COVID-19. Without this infrastructure development that we saw, a lot of Zambians would have died. We have seen road infrastructures that have improved in Zambia. We saw massive investment in the hydroelectricity generation, solar generation, thermal generation. We saw Zambia being transformed as a hub. We saw Livingstone Airport upgraded to international standard. We saw Lusaka upgraded to international standard. We saw Copper Belt, Ndola, which is Simon Mwansakapwepwe, built from nothing to something that is of international standard. So with us, we saw bumper harvest throughout the reign of His Excellency the President, meaning that Zambia had food security. We saw all provinces building infrastructure for storage, for electricity, for fuel. All this we saw. So to us, this is what we want to remember. We want to remember President Edgar Chagwa Lungu as a man who brought infrastructure in Zambia. We also want to remember him as a person who had humility. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm grateful for the opportunity for me to speak a few words about how I remember the 60th Republican President, whom I have joined the rest of members of Parliament who've traveled to Johannesburg to come and be part of the funeral procession that is scheduled for tomorrow. My words fail me to speak about this man because I remember him as somebody that I've known for close to 30 years. I must say that for me, it's a sad moment for the Republic of Zambia that we've lost the 60th Republican President. He's somebody that Zambians have grown to love. He's a man who had held the reins of power for 7 years, and in that 7 years he presided over a very robust infrastructure development program on behalf of the Patriotic Front, in keeping with the manifesto that put PF into power in 2011. We have lost a man who was a giant. We have lost a man who was a captain of the ship, and we have lost a man who had earned the name Mr. Walk the Talk, because what he said, he also did. It is very sad that we will not be given the opportunity to interre him in the country where he was born, because of the complications that have arisen because of putting politics ahead of everything that we do in this country. I'm hopeful that even as we go through the procession tomorrow, we are going to give him a dignified send-off befitting of a person who held the highest office in the country. It is very sad that many people are not going to join us as we say goodbye to our beloved president. I want to say farewell to Mr. President, even as I again register my sincere condolences to Mama Esther and the children and everybody and the whole family of Patriotic Front, including the Tonse Alliance. Thank you very, very much. I'm grateful.
Let me know what you think about this video. Thanks for tuning in to JQ News. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for the latest updates on tech, politics, and everything in between. Until next time, stay cool.